What's up, everybody? We're back. We're back at it again. Grand Hotel, Season 1, Episode 11, Art of Darkness. This episode was amazing. This episode was amazing. Every episode, there's secrets that are being, revealed. Every episode. We're getting closer and closer. I think we got 2 more episodes left of this season. We're getting closer and closer to finding out what happened to Sky, what happened to Beatrice. We're starting to unravel this. We're starting to unwrap this gift package. Every thread is getting unraveled at this point. They just picking at it. But to get into this episode though, Alicia. She really tried to get Mrs. P on her side to fire Danny. Mrs. P was not here for it. Mrs. P was like, you do not have sufficient cause to fire him. But, Alicia could have easily told Mrs. P what Danny was really up to, but she chose not to. Then again, they did have cause to fire him because his entire resume was a lie. You can fire him based off of that. But I understand why Alicia didn't tell Mrs. P the truth, because I think deep down she wants to keep Danny there, not because she still feel him. Part of it is because she still love him. She still want to be with him. But I feel like it's also because she really want to know if her father has something to do with what happened to Sky. She really wants to know, is he capable of that? So I think she wanted to keep Danny there to keep investigating to find out. I think that's exactly why she didn't tell Mrs. P. She didn't want to blow his cover because I think she really want to know, is her dad capable of murder or kidnapping or, just any heinous crime? She just really wants to know. But I don't blame her for giving Danny the cold shoulder. She basically told Danny, she will blow his cover if he don't stay away from her. She told him, stay away from her, don't talk to her, leave her be. She don't want nothing to do with him. I mean, I understand why she mad. She got every right to be mad. I mean, he came there and straight up lied to her about everything. I do give him credit for telling her the truth about the real reason he was there. Why he was, working at the hotel and stuff. Because he didn't have to tell her. She could have just found out eventually on her own and would have been even more pissed. But at least he came to her and told her. I just wish he would have told her sooner. But I understand also why he didn't. You know what I mean? Because he didn't know what she would do with that information. She could have easily told her dad, Gigi, anybody. She could have just ratted him out. So he wasn't sure. He really desperately wants to know what happened to Sky. And I can't say that I blame him. Danny is definitely not the most discreet person on this show. Definitely not. That's one of his biggest flaws. This whole undercover operative thing is just not his style. He's not good at being subtle at all. Subtlety is not his forte, so to speak. So anyway, moving on from that, Javi is on a mission, and I'm feeling it. I'm loving it. Javi is on a mission to find out what the hell happened to his mother. How did she die? He just want to know these secrets. He wants to know what happened to his mother. What happened in that room 606? Because Karolina got a big old mouth. They was at breakfast and Karolina basically told Javi and Alicia about her and Yoli hiding their father in that abandoned room 606. A secret room that Javi and Alicia knew nothing about. All these years of them being in that hotel, they never knew about that room. And it piqued Javi's curiosity. And he went to that room and he had a flashback. He had a memory of Beatrice taking him to that room in the middle of the night. And she begged him and warned him not to tell his father about that room. Maybe she was getting high in that room or something. I'm just saying, because remember his psychiatrist said maybe his mom was on drugs or something. Because remember all them business trips his father kept saying she was taking? Now, what hotel owner take that many business trips? I'm just saying. It's possible, but then again, it's you own a hotel. How many business trips you need to take? Are you planning on franchising the hotel? That's the only way I can see you taking all these trips that you claim are business. I'm just saying. But he remembered that, though. And he remembered just being in that room and watching TV and falling asleep. So Alicia was like, you know what? I'm going to help you. She was like, we're going to get some answers. So they logged into the hotel computer system to see the activity of that room over the years. And the last time anybody's really like officially been in that room was the day after their mom died. So they went up in that room, you know what I mean? Like, they're trying to figure out what happened in that room. Alicia had a flashback because they were looking at old photo albums and stuff, like pictures of their mom and her and Gigi and all them. And she had a flashback of her as a child in the hotel riding her tricycle. And she stopped and saw Gigi outside the door. She had like a food tray in her hand. She was outside the door at 606, at room 606. And her mother came busting out of the room. Beatrice came busting out of the room. And she was just hysterical. Santiago had to grab her. Santiago and Gigi both were like restraining her and bringing her back in the room. And that's when they noticed Alicia was there. So Gigi picked up Alicia and took her to the kitchen to get ice cream and stuff. They want to know why were they keeping her in that room against her will? They were thinking maybe, you know, is it possible that their father and Gigi were, you know, trying to kill her to inherit the hotel maybe? That's a possibility. Or maybe she was on drugs and, you know, they were helping her detox maybe. Maybe she was bipolar. You know what I'm saying? Maybe. You just never know. There's so many different scenarios at play. But I definitely believe something happened. And Sky had the information that they're looking for. She had something because Gigi tore that hotel room up. Like, she was all up in that hotel room looking behind pictures, taking out dresser drawers. Like, she was looking through everything, just tearing that room apart, looking for whatever Sky hid, like whatever information Sky had, desperately, frantically looking for it. What happened in that room? And what happened to Beatrice? That's the $1 billion question. And we're getting close to finding out because you know Alicia and Javi not letting this go. They not letting it go. And I don't blame them, nor should they, because I'm intrigued. I want to know, did their father and their stepmother have something to do with that? Or was it drug related? Like, what's the issue? Like, what's going on? That's what I really want to know. Maybe Mrs. P knows something. Like, I wouldn't put it past Mrs. P to have information, because I remember in the very beginning, she told Gigi that they need to make sure that Alicia and them didn't never know anything about their mom, like what happened back in the day. So Mrs. P knows something. But you know, on this show, not everything is always what it seems. So the most obvious might not be the obvious. You know, food for thought. So anyway, Gigi was playing a little game her damn self. Because Felix told her before he went to the Bahamas that he had some money stashed away, $50 million. He had over $50 million in an account under her name, under Gigi's name. So when they went to the Bahamas, my first guess was he was going to try to launder that money. That was my first guess. He was probably going to try to launder it. But Gigi went and she was playing him the whole time. You know, whenever he would come around and she was on the phone with Santiago, she would try to act like she got an attitude with Santiago. She was playing him the whole time to get access to that money. So she drugged him. She drugged his sangria or whatever, his alcohol, his sangria, because she made a few pictures of sangria. And it was drugged, and he was knocked out and stuff. But before he went unconscious, he was like, "You gonna pay for this?" So now he gonna be gunning for Gigi now, because now Gigi got that money, and she did it to save the hotel. Because Santiago was talking about selling a piece of the ownership of the hotel to Byron, who was Karolina's ex-fiance. Remember, she was supposed to marry him in the beginning of the season, and she cheated on him with El Rey. So he was gonna sell a piece of the hotel to him, just to pay off Teresa and get her and Mateo and all them out of their hotel. But of course, it came with strings attached. He wanted an apology from Karolina. So Karolina gave him his little apology or whatever. He looking at Karolina talking about, wow, you're hot. I'm like, you were engaged to her. You're just now noticing that she was a beautiful woman. I was busting out laughing throughout that whole thing. So basically, they kind of got back together, Karolina and Byron. But they were just all over each other, kissing every 5 seconds. And Marissa and Yoli was just sick by it. They was like, okay, can y'all stop? Like, it was just aggravating. But the funny thing was, and what they noticed was, it was just a sexual tension. It was just sexual chemistry between the two of them, between Karolina and Byron. For Karolina, it was about money, because she know that his family was super rich. Like, they were uberly rich. That's all she cared about. You know what I'm saying? Byron, it was so funny to me, because Byron didn't know jack about Karolina. He didn't, like, they were engaged, and he knew nothing about her. Her likes, her dislikes. He didn't know that she didn't like oysters, that she was lactose intolerant. He didn't know none of that. I'm like, how are you about to marry somebody and spend the rest of your life with that person, but you don't know these things? You don't know what her favorite movies are. You don't know nothing. Like, how are you marrying somebody like that? He basically just wanted to marry her for arm candy. That's all. A trophy wife. That's all he wanted. You know what I'm saying? He didn't want to know nothing personal about her because he didn't care. She looked good. She was hot. And that's all he was marrying her for. That's it. Like, they knew nothing. Like, he literally knew nothing about Karolina. But you know what was funny, though? And what Karolina started to notice was that Marissa knew a lot about Yoli personally. Knew what made her get a headache. You know what I mean? Like, she just knew things about Yoli. And that's what opened Karolina's eyes that, you know, she wants somebody who's going to love her for her and know everything about her. You know what I mean? Like, she wants to marry somebody for love. You know what I mean? That was at the time. Because this fool talking about something, oh, I know what you like. I know all about you. So he pulled out this big ass gaudy engagement ring that was apparently bigger than the original ring he originally got her when they were engaged. Karolina, of course, showed how vain and just simple-minded that she is and materialistic. Fell in love with the ring. All is forgiven. All is forgotten. They're back together. I'm like, are you serious? All it took was a big-ass diamond ring. Karolina, this is why I kind of love Karolina's character. Like, she could be real in a moment, but then when you show her something expensive or talk about money or whatever, she just goes right back into that vain person that she is. That just cares about money and status and being fabulous. That's it. That's all she cares about. I'm like, okay. Well, if y'all like it, I love it. Good for y'all. Have fun. So anyway, Jason, I like seeing this side of Jason. Like, Jason was just having the time of his life with Vanessa, the cheerleader that he met at the bachelorette party last week. He was just having a ball with her. Like, he spent the whole week with her. Like, they were just having a good old time. And of course, Ingrid had to ruin it or try to throw a pin into it. So she ended up going to Mrs. P and telling Mrs. P all about Vanessa. Talking about how she was a cheerleader, which is basically the equivalent of a stripper. Talking about, oh, she takes her clothes off. Like, just trying to run her down so Mrs. P would interfere in that relationship. And of course it backfired because Mrs. P, after sitting down with Vanessa, she learned a lot about her. Like, a lot of good, positive things about her. So she actually liked her and approved of her. And of course, Ingrid had to step her game up. So she came back to Mrs. P, showing her all type of handcuffs that she claimed she found and dropped out of her bag. And, you know, trying to paint her in a bad light. Mrs. P was not here for it. She knew exactly what Ingrid was trying to do. She was like, obviously, you're jealous. I'm like, Ingrid, go sit your little jealous ass down somewhere. And Mrs. P clocked it. She was like, you jealous. That's why you try to interfere. And I agree with Mrs. P. If it's meant to be between Ingrid and Jason, it will happen. You know what I'm saying? But you can't pull manipulations and all this stuff to try to make it happen. You can't force it to happen. Like, you can't force y'all to be a couple. It has to happen naturally. You know what I'm saying? And I'm glad that Ingrid listened to Mrs. P. I actually like how far Ingrid and Mrs. P's relationship has come since the first episode. Like, I really like it. Like, you know, Mrs. P basically kind of took an interest in Ingrid. You know what I mean? Like, she was nice to her, let her move into her home. She's kind of taking her under her wing, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? So I'm glad that she's there to give her sound advice, because God knows Ingrid needs it from time to time. And I love that Ingrid, stopped trying to interfere with Jason's love life, because she was jealous. And she took heed to what Mrs. P was telling her. If it's meant to be, it'll be. Have to let it happen naturally. Jason was talking about going, because Vanessa just left and went back to Dallas or whatever. So he was talking about booking a flight to go down to Dallas to surprise her. I do have to agree with Ingrid on that. I don't think you should surprise her. I think you should text her or call her and let her know that you're coming. Because you don't want to look like no stalker. You don't want to look needy. The girl just left and went back home. Y'all spent the whole week together. You know what I'm saying? You don't want her thinking that you're some needy dude. As soon as she leave, I got to be with you. I hate being away from you. You don't want to be one of those. So you might want to take it a little slower. But, I like how Ingrid chose to help him and call a friend of hers that worked the front desk at one of the hotels down there. She could get him a discount and stuff. I like that. I thought that was nice of Ingrid. That was real cool of her to do that. I mean, I'm warming up to Ingrid compared to how I was about her the first episode. I wouldn't mind seeing her and Jason together. I wouldn't mind it. Because she genuinely cares about Jason, and Jason did care about her, and I think he still do care about her. As far as, wanting to be in a relationship with her, because at one point he was feeling her, relationship-wise, but it just obviously wasn't happening because of that whole baby fiasco. But I think they definitely have another shot, hopefully, if things don't work out between him and Vanessa. But I'm happy for Jason. He's loosening up. He's letting loose a little bit more, showing PDA at the hotel and stuff. I like it, this new side of him. I guess that talk with Javi really, shaped him up a little bit. Because Javi told him last week, you ain't got no edge to you. You ain't got no swag to you. But I guess it worked. He finally got a little bit more pep in his step. So I'm happy for him, He finally getting his romance on, which is cool. He deserves some happiness. So anyway, moving on from that, Teresa. I freaking love Teresa. She showed why she is a boss. She came up in Santiago penthouse and was like, I'm gonna hold my charity auction gala here, like a charity gala, like a charity art gala. She was gonna host it at Santiago and Gigi's penthouse. Santiago was like, you're not kicking me out of my penthouse to host no party here. Teresa looked at him and was like, did I stutter? She said, I'm not asking your permission. I was like, I know that's right. She let him know. She was not asking his permission to hold a gala there. She said, I'm holding it here. As in, I'm doing it whether you want me to or not. And you're going to like it and you're going to love it. She wasn't asking your permission. He must have forgot who he was talking to for a second. I'm like, bruh, you're talking to the queen bee. You're talking to the ice queen. She's not listening to what you're saying. She's telling you. She's not asking you. There's a difference between telling and asking. She wasn't asking, bro. You might want to fall in line. And Mateo, I loved it because she let Mateo know. She was like, Mateo, because he was seriously kissing her ass. And she was letting Mateo know. Her ass has been kissed sufficiently. You can stop now. I said, exactly. Mateo just trying to keep on her good side because he knows she's not the one to be played with. He know how dangerous she is. So when Gigi got the $50 million from the accounts in the Bahamas, she took that money back to Santiago and let him know this should be, more than enough to take care of your debt to her, to Teresa, and get her and her people out of here. And she put Santiago on notice. Don't lie to me again or else I will be gone for good. I don't blame her. Because when you're in a marriage, you have to be able to trust the person you're married to. And if you ain't got trust, you ain't got nothing. You know what I'm saying? If you ain't got trust in a relationship, you have literally nothing. You're bankrupt. You have nothing. You know what I'm saying? You have to be able to trust the person that you're with. And if they're constantly telling you lies and covering their tracks, that's not the type of person you should be with, honestly. And I'm glad she let him know that. Lie to me one more time and it's a wrap. I don't blame her. You don't want to be in a little secretive ass marriage. That's not the type of marriage you want. So when they took the money to Teresa and told her, oh, we got the money to pay you off, you can leave my hotel now. They thought it was really going to be that easy to get rid of her? I think not. She let them know. She was like, I'm going to keep using this hotel for as long as I want to. She said, and y'all going to keep making payments, monthly payments. She was like, y'all going to keep making payments to me for as long as I tell you to. I said, well, damn. She wasn't playing. She was not playing with them. She was like, y'all not off the hook. She was like, I'm not done with this hotel yet. Not till I say I'm done. I said, see, that's what happens when you get in business with those types of people. Because Teresa got so much money, she wasn't worried about being paid back in full. She got plenty of money. Money is not her problem. That's what happens when you get in business with those types of people. They just like toying with people and messing with people. And Mateo kept warning Gigi and Santiago. He was like, Teresa's not to be played with. It's not going to be easy. He was like, he's been trying to get rid of her. He's been trying to get away from her since he was 20 years old with no luck. So now she's hosting this gala and stuff. And Danny, obviously working with the police and stuff, you know, they want him to wear a wire to the art gala, to the charity art show, to the charity art gala. And I'm like, this detective is going to get little Danny killed. Because, you know, Danny ain't subtle enough. So he went up in there talking to one of the girls at the party about one of the pieces. Teresa came up behind him and was like, you're not here to talk to people or touch the art. You're here to serve drinks. Don't talk. She said, just go do your job. I said, ooh, okay. So the detective was telling him, like, be creative, like find out if there's drugs in those art pieces, because she's been known to be, you know, transferring drugs through furniture and stuff. So they wanted to know if it was drugs in those art pieces. Danny was not subtle at all. This fool picked up one of the statues and started shaking it and stuff. I said, what the hell is wrong with this boy? You are dealing with dangerous people, and you're going to sit here and blatantly pick up the statue in front of everybody and start shaking it like a fool? I said, what is wrong with this? Danny be trying my nerves. I said, Danny, what the hell is wrong with you, boy? You don't be shaking no art like a fool. And then going to drop it on the ground. But there was no drugs in it, though. So they were wondering, well, she's not, you know, trafficking drugs. What is she trafficking? But Gigi and Santiago, they were suspicious because they were running around trying to talk to people. Santiago was talking to people and stuff like that. And one of the guys basically said, like, they're not really there for the art, basically. So that's what made Santiago and Gigi think that it's not the art that she cares about. Obviously, she was trafficking girls, a sex trafficking ring. Well, a human sex trafficking ring. So Gigi went over to one of the girls and accidentally spilled champagne on her so she could take her upstairs and change her outfit. And Danny, of course, was snooping around in the master bedroom, almost about to get caught, of course. Danny he's the worst. When it comes to being a sleuth or any type of undercover operative, he's the worst. He always about to get caught. So he snuck into one of the, you know, into the closet, into like a corner of the closet while Gigi and the girl was in there, and Gigi was asking the girl all these questions, and that's when the girl admitted that Teresa's basically, you know, forcing them to, you know, selling them off basically. And she was going to, you know, be tortured or beat and abused once she goes downstairs to face Teresa. Mind you, in one of the rooms downstairs, they got a guard outside the door. And in that room is where a bunch of other girls are. So he's guarding that room. So he's guarding the room and stuff. Because Danny got the whole thing on tape. Because once Santiago and them came down, you know, once Gigi came downstairs, Santiago basically told Teresa he was about to call 911 and have her come near. And have the cops come near for her sex trafficking. And Teresa let him know. She was like, well, you're the one hosting this party. So basically letting him know you're the one that's going to go to jail because you're hosting this party. And that's when Danny, you know, was talking to the cop through the headphones and told them, seeing if they heard it and stuff like that. And they did. They overheard it. So they got all that they needed to arrest Teresa for sex trafficking. And when he went in, he ignored the cop because the cop told him not to go into that room and stuff looking for Sky. But he was like, he got to. So, of course, he got the guard away from the door, went in the room, and Sky wasn't nowhere in there. So, basically, Teresa had nothing to do with Sky's disappearance. And by the time the cops came in there, Sky was gone. I mean, not Sky. Teresa was gone. Mateo done got her out and got her, down the stairs through the stairwell. So she ain't have no security. It was just her and Mateo. So when they got in the car and stuff and he took her away from the hotel and stuff, she told him that they was going to have to lay low. Mateo took out his gun and killed her. I was not expecting it. I mean, I kind of was once he got her away and she was by herself. So he finally killed her because Mateo had to kill her because he knew that was the only way Santiago and everybody was going to be rid of her. That was the only way to get them free and clear of her. Mind you, they don't have to pay her back and they get to keep the money. And Mateo was finally free of Teresa. I'm just mad because I love the Teresa character. I said, why did they have to kill her off? Why? I love the Teresa character. Loved her. Like, she was super dope on this show. Super dope. She was the ice queen. And of course, Felix is definitely not done with Gigi. He's not done with Santiago. He called Yoli and was basically telling her, when you see Santiago, tell him that he should have killed me. So basically, he's making it clear that he's coming after them. Felix need to just go sit his little washed up self down somewhere. Like, seriously. I knew he couldn't be trusted, of course. But this was an amazing episode. Like, I loved every second of this episode. Hit the comment section and let me know what y'all thought about this episode. And I will see y'all all later. Have a great night. Peace.